welcome to Lake Olmsted Stadium on the beautiful city of here tonight. Game 1 tonight, Game 2 tomorrow beginning at 4, and Game 1 on Sunday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon here at Lake Olmsted Stadium. And should be exciting action. And once again, the coaches are out there talking to the umpires as we're getting set for baseball. It's beautiful weather here this weekend and should be throughout the 3-game series. We look forward to bringing it to you as well. And once again, welcome to Lake Olmsted Stadium. I'm Robert Ambrose alongside Blake Collins. How's it going, Blake?
Absolutely dandy. And we've got a surefire dandy of a ball game in front of us, too, with Augusta University, the Jags, taking on North Georgia.
We absolutely do. In a sense, these are two very evenly matched teams. The records may not necessarily show that, but North Georgia comes in even 500 at 12-12 on the season, and 5-7 in Peach Belt Conference play. The Jaguars 9-18 and 6-12 Peach Belt Conference play as well. And the Jaguars, though, they've been on a hot streak lately. So have the Nighthawks, as a matter of fact. The Nighthawks coming off on the 21st of this month, a 14-13 upset victory over West Georgia, a team that swept the Jaguars in a 3-game series to open the season, the beginning of February, winning 16-2, 10-7, and 14-3 over the Jaguars in that series. So drastic difference there. However, the Jaguars recently took 2 out of 3 from Flagler just over a month ago, actually. And also, when you think about mutual opponents, the Nighthawks were swept by Flagler, and their offense really struggled in that series. So really, it shows you anything could happen this weekend.
Absolutely. And not only that, in that Flagler series before coming back home and taking it to Coker, the Jags scored 25 runs in that series, took the Saturday game, but lost Friday and Sunday. But a good way to rebound with Coker coming in. And also want to talk about this too. Zach Goebel had a tremendous series at Flagler, winning the National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association Regional Hitter of the Week for Augusta University, and also Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week as well. So a strong performance at Flagler, and then at Coker coming back home on Tuesday. Well deserved for Zach Goebel. Let's see if he can continue that tonight against North Georgia.
He absolutely can, and let's note Goebel is a very versatile player, primarily the DH, although he's played several other positions this year, including pitcher, and he has excelled on the mound as well.
Absolutely. He's come in and he shut down the door in the 9th inning. He had to save Wednesday against Coker as well, so he has come in and shut the door several times. He has become Howell's go-to closer as of late. We'll see if that continues, and we'll see if the bats of Augusta University can stay ignited and score some runs against North Georgia.
Well, that's absolutely important. An important factor is the Jaguars, in most of their wins this year, the bats being successful has been the reason why they've won the games they've won this year. However, 2 nights ago on Wednesday, it was a 5-3 victory for the Jaguars over Coker, and that game a little different than most of their wins. They won with pitching.
Absolutely. The bullpen came in and slammed the door. They were almost lights out, and it's a very good right direction and a right step for the bullpen to take, seeing as how they struggled a little bit early. They're coming into their zone now. They're coming into their own, mixing pitches very well, getting the opposing hitters to swing at pitchers' pitches, and continuing to lay down the law, create outs, and create swings and misses. So a very great bullpen to come into today's game. We'll see if they can swing back around and continue that tonight.
We'll give you a little more information and bring you this game on the other side of the national anthem. We welcome you back here to Augusta, Georgia. The Jaguars have taken the field set for baseball tonight, and to begin, this should be an exciting Peach Belt Conference 3-game series over this weekend. Over the weekend of the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 if you follow basketball. And also Peach Belt Conference action. Let's take a look at the Jaguars defensively. Their alignment, they'll have Devin Billardello in center field, Bakari Gale in left, and right field Harrison Moore to round up the outfield. In the infield, left to right, it'll be Jim Wagner at third base, Trent Maddox at shortstop. At second base, it'll be Mason Robertson and Ty Hobbs at first. Behind the plate doing the catching is Caleb McElwaney, who tends to switch off with Brent Alford. Now he's behind the plate tonight. And on the mound is, for the Jaguars, we have Sam Goberhahn. And take a look at the starting lineup in just a moment for the Nighthawks. And one of the things offensively for the Nighthawks that on defense you want to watch out for if you're the Jaguars, their starting catcher for the Nighthawks, Andres Perez. He's hitting third tonight. He's the team leader in hits and home runs, or in average in home runs, I should say, hitting .330 on the season, 11 home runs already on the season that's not even 2 months old. And they don't even play every day, so you think about where that would project in a Major League Baseball statistic book with the amount of games they've played.
Yeah, I mean they haven't had much competition as we've been talking about to date. So timing might be an issue for him at the plate, but as well, you've got a good staff for Augusta, and Sam Govardon right now starting for the Jags will be a good test for North Georgia here.
There's an absolute certainty the Jaguars will be facing Perez this inning. He is the number 3 hitter. And the first pitch to Mapes is a called strike. 0-1 to William Mapes, the leadoff hitter and the starting shortstop tonight's game for the Nighthawks. And the 0-1 popped up. That's going to stay in the infield. Maddox calling everybody off. He's under it. He makes the catch. 1 up, 1 down to start the game here in the first.
Created the speed he wanted with the bat through the zone, but ultimately tracked it a little bit off center as he shot the bat under it and lifted it up into the sky. Very quick first out for Sam Govardon and Augusta University.
It's going to bring up Stephen Tomlinson. Tomlinson is one of 4 players, including Mapes and Perez and Corbett. And that's hit in the air to right field. And that's a foul ball. 0-1. The top 4 hitters in the starting lineup for the Nighthawks this game. Mapes, followed by Tomlinson, who's batting now in the number 2 spot. Will be followed by Perez, who I talked about earlier, and then Connor Corbett. Those are the only 4 players on the team that have played in and started in all 24 of their team's games in 2018 so far. Tomlinson hitting .268 this season. He has 3 doubles and a trio of home runs as well, to his credit. 0-2 the count now on Tomlinson.
And he's facing Govardon, who the last several home games have had really good quality starts for the Jags. And he continues on the right foot there.
Throw across the diamond in time, 2 up, 2 down. A 5-3 ground out. And now that's going to bring up Andres Perez. And he's the guy that you'll want to watch out for, the catcher on the Nighthawks. He's only a sophomore, so if you're the Nighthawks, you'll be seeing a lot of him this year and next. He won't be draft eligible until next year. And that misses downstairs for a ball. 1-0 to Perez. He's 6'7", 240 pounds. And he's got the power. The 1-0 misses. 2-0, as I mentioned pregame, 11 home runs this season and a .330 average. If you hit for power and average, you're doing something right.
Absolutely.
And it's 3-0. And you can tell Gobernon has done his homework and is very careful about pitching him. Behind in the count, 3-0. Obviously not trying to give him anything easy, and Perez takes, and it's called strike 3-1.
Well, not only with those home runs that you mentioned, but just at the plate, out of 97 at bats, 32 hits, 5 of those have been 2 baggers. Is that ball's lace foul? But continue on Perez. In those 32 hits, he's acquired 29 RBIs, so he's very productive at the plate, and it's going to be a difficult out to acquire here for the Jags.
Count now full to Perez. Trying to extend the inning for Connor Corbett, who's the number 2 hitter on the team in terms of average, hitting .319 on the year, and he fouls another one back.
And
this is the heart of the Nighthawk lineup.
Perez may be fooled by some of the pitches, but he's staying back enough to where he could keep the at-bat alive.
Grounds one once again to third. Wagner throws it across the diamond once again, and he makes a pair of good throws in time to end the inning. And the Jaguars set down the Nighthawks in order. We go to the bottom of the first at the Lake. Jaguars coming to bat. We'll be back. Welcome you back to Augusta. Let's bring you the starting lineup offensively for the Jaguars. We are getting set to start the bottom of the first. Devin Billardello, the starting center fielder, will lead it off. He'll be followed by the left fielder, Bakari Gale. Zach Goebel, the designated hitter, hitting third. He is your reigning Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week and the Regional Player of the Week as well after his heroics in last week's games. The cleanup hitter, Harrison Moore, starting in right field. Jim Wagner at third base hits fifth. Ty Hobbs at first base hits sixth. Mason Robertson will play second base and hit seventh. Caleb McElwaney behind the plate, the number 8 hitter for the Jaguars. And Trent Maddox, the starting shortstop, hitting ninth. To round it up, the Jaguars will be facing starting pitcher on the Nighthawks, Cade Hale. Hale is a 2-4 this season. He has 1 no decision in 7 starts and appearances, a 3.83 ERA. And Blake, what do you expect to see from him tonight, and what do you expect to see from the Jaguars against him?
Yeah, Heil comes in very strong, but you want to see from the Jags good, consistent at bats, and if you don't have anything that you're looking for specifically, until you find something you want, but to also produce long at bats, work the count, and be patient for your pitch, because oftentimes in pitchers counts, you have to be patient, and then it's the pitcher who comes back and has control of the at bat. But in hitters counts, you can be selective and try to attack your pitch. So look for them to work the counts against Heil here tonight.
And Bill Ordello has worked the count even to a ball and a strike. The first two pitches he has seen to lead off the inning for the Jaguars. The 1-1 pitch, high chopper grounder to third, throw across the diamond in time for out number 1. This game so far on both sides, 4 up, 4 down, with 1 out in the bottom of the first, 3 ground outs to third base. That's going to bring up Bakari Gale.
And this will be an interesting matchup too, because Gale has been known to foul off pitches and keep the at bats flowing and alive. So it'll be interesting to see how Heil works here against Gale.
Gale looks at a strike, 0-1. It's going to be followed by the reigning Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week and Regional Player of the Week, Zach Goebel, designated hitter, who hits third. 0-2 to Bakari Gale.
And you want, if you're the Jags, to see Gale any way you can attack the baseball and get on first base, whether it be a hit, a walk, or anything like that, because you want to give Goebel, who's up next and on deck, a chance at continuing his hot streak and obtaining RBI.
Gale reaches on an infield single up the middle. So we have our first base runner of the ball game, and it's Bakari Gale of the Jaguars.
And now also, too, with the runner on, there's a different pitching philosophy that Heil will implement, and it could also, with that pressure and that changing of the philosophy, may work in Goebel's favor.
The philosophy change will include a quicker motion, with the speedy Gale trying to stop him from having an easier time stealing.
And we've seen teams in the past, too, check on Gale severely and time after time. And you do it too many times, you lose concentration on the hitter and worry more about the runner. That could prove costly here for Heil.
He's already thrown over to first once. This at bat, 0-1 on Zach Goebel, Jaguars DH. The 0-1 pitch misses a ball and a strike. Count is even. On Wednesday, the Jaguars were 5-3 winners over Coker. And it was a game the Jaguars fell behind 2-0 in the top of the first inning. But it was all Augusta from then on.
And also another good sign from Augusta in that game is they had multiple runners on base in multiple innings, finding any way they can to get on base, and then stringing hits together and playing ABC baseball. It's a sure tell sign of a good team, and it's looking like thus far here tonight, I know we're only at the bottom of the first, but with Gale on, Goebel now has a chance to, if not manufacture a run here, at least migrate Gale over to second.
2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out on Goebel. The pitch misses 3-2. Now with the count full, even though there's less than 2 outs, would you run if you're Gale? He's got a huge lead at first base. The Nighthawks doing everything they can to hold him on.
Seeing as hot as Goebel is, and that takes that out of the equation now with a bad throw.
And on the bad pickoff throw, Gale's going to walk over to second easily. So his big lead and his speed got the Nighthawks to worry about him, and it paid off. And comes back to bite the Nighthawks as Gale's on second after the throwing error by the pitcher.
Well, and now that puts even added more pressure on to Heil because of Gale's speed at second. A single now will solidify the Jags' first run as Gale will migrate across the plate.
Time is called. Hale steps out off the mound. Hale, 3.83 ERA on the season. Third on the team in that category. He's the leader in ERA on the team in terms of starters. And that's blooped into right field. That's down for a base hit. On his way to third, Bakari Gale, and with his speed, still had to tag up with less than 2 outs, not knowing if that was going to be caught, and he has to stop at third.
Phenomenal job by Goebel there to cover the outside and the inside part of the plate, but strong enough to fist it off into shallow right field for the single. And I also want to as well commend Connor Corbett, their right fielder, for hitting the cutoff man, keeping Gale at bay at third base, saving the run.
That's going to bring up Harrison Moore, the Jaguars cleanup hitter, starting in right field tonight. Has an opportunity with runners at the corners and 1 out, called strike nothing and 1 to Harrison Moore.
Yeah, when you play good fundamental baseball, it does a number of things, and right there, with the good fundamentals behind him, Corbett and North Georgia saved that run temporarily.
That's in the gap in right center field. That's down. Gale scores to third. Goebel. Runners at second and third with 1 out, and the Jaguars lead it 1-0.
Moore did not waste much time. He saw a pitch elevated and just attacked it and obliterated that baseball all the way into right center field. And with more speed, the only thing holding him up from getting to third was Goebel, who was on first. A phenomenal at bat. And let's see if the Jazz can continue to pour this on as Jim Wagner's at the dish. You got to like your chances. With second and third, both runners in scoring position for Wagner here to obtain an RBI.
And a big opportunity with this being the heart of the Jaguars lineup. Wagner looks at a strike, nothing and 1. A pair of runners in scoring position. And it misses for a ball 1-1. In Wednesday's 5-3 victory for the Jaguars, it was a very windy day throughout. The wind could not make up its mind on the direction it was going. And it played a major factor. Not the case tonight.
It's more of a solemn win tonight, which is helping the defense out a lot.
Popped up right field, catch is made, and the runners will hold at second and third. So a non-productive out for the Jaguars. 2 gone. It's going to bring up Ty Hobbs.
And Corbett has a cannon in right to save that run at third. But the thing you like there with Wagner was he was patient, but he made solid contact with the baseball. And anytime you can make solid contact, it's always proof that the hitter is solid and is on the right track.
Hobbs is now ahead of the count, 1-0. Still runners on second and third. And he lines that one up the middle. That's going to be fielded at second. And the throw to first is in time. So the Jaguars strand a pair of runners in scoring position, but not before they push across a run and take a 1-0 lead. We go to the second at the Lake. We'll be back. We are back here at the lake, set for the starting the top of the second. The Nighthawks coming to bat. They were set down in order by the Jaguars in the top of the first to allow the 4, 5, 6 hitters due up to start the inning. It'll be Connor Corbett leading it off, followed by Leroy and then Arnold, Bill Leroy and then Jake Arnold.
Yeah, Corbett definitely displayed his cannon out and right, not allowing the lead to escalate any further as the Jags had a pretty good threat going, but his arm alone saved 2 runs.
The 0-1 swing and a miss, 0-2 on Corbett. The 4, 5, 6 hitters starting off this inning for the Nighthawks, and also the 2, 3, 4 hitters on the Nighthawks in terms of average. Grounded back to Goberton, tosses it to first, but they're going to say that Hobbs stepped off the bag. And Corbett is safe at first to lead off the inning, first base runner of the game for the Nighthawks.
Corbett there with an swing, placed it right where the Jags were going to have the toughest defensive play on the diamond, put it in between first and the pitcher. Usually the pitcher would go cover first and then let Hobbs get the ball. That time it was the opposite way around, and it worked out in the Nighthawks' favor as Corbett is standing on first.
Corbett on first. Now here's Bill Leroy, hitting .316 on the season. Played in 20 of the 24 games for the Nighthawks this season. Behind the count here, 0-1.
And one thing, too, that I'm noticing, and Leroy's kind of helping this, but the Nighthawks have not had a very productive job at the plate thus far. They made contact, but outside of the contact that they've made, they haven't been able to track Gohardon's pitches very well. And that's something that to keep an eye on as this game goes on. As Gohardon, as we've seen before with Gohardon, he mixes his pitches very well and also creates crevices with the strike zone and the plate to where he can get batters out and make them look a little bit foolish at the plate. So keep that in mind as well.
The 0-2 pitch misses for a ball, 1 and 2 to Leroy. On reverse, nobody out here in the top of the second. Jaguars with a 1-0 lead.
You know, the strike zone is 17 inches all the way around the plate. Now there's 2 inches, give or take, and that's what I was talking about with crevices. He exposes that 2-inch margin and creates the 19 inches around the plate, and he gets hitters out on those type of pitches all the time. But Leroy right now is down a strike.
Behind 1 and 2, and he foul tips one back to the screen, just able to stay alive and chased what may have been ball 2 upstairs. Leroy is the designated hitter for the Nighthawks. He's one of only 2 players on the team with at least a triple to his credit this season. The other is Chase Sudduth.
Well, credit to Leroy here is he's kept battling against Gohardon here, making Gohardon throw extra pitches that he doesn't want to. And Gohardon's hope right now is to solidify a pitch low to get a ground ball to turn this double play if the Jaguars can, but Leroy is making him work. And that also is allowing for the rest of the lineup to see Gohardon's arsenal. You see right there, Gohardon trying to exploit the inside corner, but Leroy thwarts that and fouls it off.
Been a good at bat here. He's fouled off several tough pitches. Still behind 1 and 2. Wind starting to slowly pick up and blow out towards straightaway center field. The 1-2 pitch misses, 2 balls and 2 strikes on Leroy.
Tried to catch the high part of the strike zone there, barely misses, but Gohardon is accustomed to long counts, but even when he gets to 3-2, he manages to work himself out of the jam. So we'll see what happens, but Leroy, regardless of the outcome thus far, has had a productive at bat, making Go or Don work.
And the 2-2 has popped up. Center field. Villardello makes the catch. 2-1 gone here in the second inning. It's going to bring up Jake Arnold. Arnold has 2 home runs this season, a .286 hitter. Check on the runner at first. And the pitch. Swing and a miss.
Arnold very aggressive at the plate, and that's what's led him to the middle of the pack in terms of hits at 22, and trying to ignite an otherwise stifled North Georgia offense to this point.
And the 0-1 misses the ball on a strike. Similarly to the Jaguars, the Nighthawks have had a really good offense in a lot of their wins this season, most recently beating West Georgia on Wednesday 14-13. And that's grounded to short. Underhand toss to second, in time for one, the throw to first, a double play! And the Jaguars get out of the inning and come to bat. We go to the bottom of the second, Jaguars with the lead 1-0 here at Lake Homestead Stadium. We'll be back. We are back here at the lake. It's the Jaguars batting in the bottom of the second. Mason Robertson will lead it off. It's the bottom third of the Jaguars lineup. Robertson will be followed by the catcher Caleb McElwaney and then Trent Maddox. Jaguars pushed across a run in the bottom of the first. An inning ago, that's where we stand now. 1-0 Jaguars. A called strike to Robertson, 0-1.
And if Robertson can put the ball in play, don't be fooled, because Robertson has tremendous speed as well. If he can put the ball in play, he can create anarchy out on the diamond.
The Jaguars in general have a very speedy lineup. Robertson's got speed. Also, you have Trent Maddox, Jim Wagner, Harrison Moore, Bakari Gale, and Devin Villardello.
Absolutely. So about six of the 7 guys in the lineup could use their speed to inflict damage on Heil in North Georgia. He's already down a strike.
And the 2-1 in the air to left field, and the catch is made for out number 1. And now it's going to bring up the catcher Caleb McElwaney. As I mentioned, the top half of this inning, how the Nighthawks, similarly to the Jaguars, have been relying heavily on a lot of their offense during most of their wins, as the Nighthawks were 14-13 winners on Wednesday over West Georgia.
Right.
West Georgia, they're the 17th ranked team in the country in D2 baseball, and they swept the Jaguars in a 3-game series to open the season at the beginning of February, and that was not a competitive 3-game series if you're the Jaguars. The 0-1 misses a ball and a strike.
Not at all, but then the Jags have learned from that series and have brought the lumber when they can. And they, with that win against Coker and the win on Saturday against Flagler, the offense is beginning to pick back up, and the pitching has completely done a 360 from that West Georgia series. And the Jags bullpen is looking strong. It's looking somewhat dominant, and not only that, but the starting pitching continues to improve as well, as Govardhan's doing right here.
Count is 3-1 on McElwaney, and he foul tips one, 3-2, full count.
Another thing with Heil out on the mound, the Jags are not being fooled at the dish. They're tracking the ball well. Even though Heil's mixing his pitches, they're seeing the ball well out of his hand and being able to unload on pitches just like right there, just like they did right there.
McElwaney lines one to center for out number 2. It's going to bring up Trent Maddox. Jaguars scored a run off of 3 hits in the bottom of the first. And so far in this game, the Nighthawks, no runs off of 1 hit. The Nighthawks dropped 2 out of 3 over the weekend in their series with Georgia College. The game they won, it was the middle game in the 3-game series. The score was 11-8.
Right.
So speaking of how good their offense is in their wins, they also defeated Georgia Southwestern 17-4 early on in the season, and Trevecca Nazarene 16-1, and were 11-10 winners over Florida Tech. As the side is retired here in the bottom of the second, Jaguars set down in order. We go to the third. Augusta leads it 1-0 here at the Lake. We'll be back. Welcome back to Lake Olmsted Stadium. We're in the top of the third inning. Jaguars lead it 1-0. Bottom third of the lineup, due up for the Nighthawks in the top of the third. The second baseman, Chase Sudduth, starting it off, has started in all but 1 game this season, hitting .272, has scored 20 runs, and has homered 3 times. That's third on the team, or actually 4th on the team. And the first pitch he sees is a ball, 1-0 to Sudduth. He'll be followed by Nick Clarno. And then Cal Dempsey.
For Govardhan, he's trying to snag the inside corner of that last pitch. Just a touch outside. He's that time he breaches it. Very good pitch there by Govardon. Govardon's still working behind the count, though. He's down a ball.
2-1 misses, 3 balls and a strike. And the 3-1 misses, and Suddeth is on with a leadoff walk on 5 pitches. That's going to bring up Nick Clarno. Clarno with 4 home runs this season, 3rd on the team, behind Corbett and Perez, hitting .253.
Yeah, patience often breeds success in this game. Patience to start off the inning for North Georgia. Let's see if Nick Clarno can bring him in.
Clarno, similarly to Suddeth, has played and started in all but 1 game this season for the Nighthawks. He shows bunt and chops it foul, 0-1. Obviously trying to get Suddeth the tying run over in the scoring position.
Absolutely, and you see right now with the Jags on their infield, third base is in to grab the bunt if it's down the third base line. Hobbs is having to hold the runner at first base.
Shows bunt once again. This time he pulls back on the pitch upstairs. Snap through the first. Back in time is Suddeth.
So
1-1 on Clarno.
If you're seeing that for Clarno, you want, with the third baseman breaking in to attack the baseball on a bunt, you want to try to push this up the first base line. We'll see what happens, because then you'll work on the pitcher trying to field it.
The 1-1 is a called strike, 1-2.
And sometimes with pitchers fielding bunts like that and balls that they're not accustomed to fielding, mistakes can happen. So if you're Clarno, you do want to try to do that, especially seeing how the Jags at third base is breaking in on the bunt.
And the 1-2. And Clarno swing and miss down on strikes. 1 out.
Yeah, Clarno got fooled on that pitch as the ball was dying at the dish well in front of it. I initially thought he might have gotten a touch of the baseball to stay alive, but it's not the case. It's a great pitch by Govardon. Sets in the first out of the inning.
And the pitch to Dempsey misses for a ball, 1-0. On Dempsey, the number 9 hitter for the Nighthawks. Not a big lead for Clarno at first. 1-0 pitch misses, 2-0. The Nighthawks against Govardon have drawn 2 walks into this game. They have one here in the third, a leadoff walk by Suddeth this inning. In the second inning, Corbett drew a walk, Connor Corbett, and that was erased by double play. Check on the runner at first once again.
It's an easier pickoff throw if you're a lefty on the mound as opposed to Heil, the right-hander. You've already seen Heil struggle with a pickoff attempt early on in this game. Govardon has an easier trek to first base and fires it right on the money with that initial pickoff attempt there.
Count 3-0 to Dempsey, and the 3-0 is in there for a strike 1. 3-1. Govardon also fell behind Perez in the first inning. 3-0. Battled back to make it full before Perez grounded out. Now he's behind 3-1 here to Dempsey in the third. Check on the runner once again. The 3-1 pitch. Checked his swing. It's a called strike 2 anyway, and the count is full. Dempsey thought he pulled back and that it was going to be ball 4, but instead it's full count with 1 out.
It's a brazen and well-established pitch there by Govardon, attacking the inside corner. the hitter for North Georgia couldn't hardly move, and Govardhan stitches in the second strike.
Runners going. Pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3, and an easy stolen base for Sudduth. But down on strikes is Dempsey. 2 gone. With a runner on second, and we're back to the top of the order. And no, they're going to say that they're going to call Sudduth out for interference. And that ends the 3rd inning. So once again, Jaguars set the Nighthawks down in order as they have faced the minimum on defense, leading at 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the 3rd here at the Lake. We'll be back. And we are back here at Lake Olmsted Stadium as the Jaguars will have the top 3rd of their lineup to start off the bottom of the 3rd. Devin Billardello leading off, grounded out his first time up. First pitch he sees, called strike 1 on the inside corner, 0-1. Going back to the way the top half of this inning ended, Blake, and what went down was Dempsey. Cal Dempsey struck out for what was the second out, and Chase Sudduth, took off from first to try to steal second, and it appeared as though he had an easy stolen base. But the reason why it appeared that way is because when the Jaguars catcher Caleb McElwain tried to throw down the second to get him out, no guarantees whether or not he would have got him out or not, but the throw hit the bat of Dempsey after he struck out, so a strike him out, batter interference double play is how the top of the 3rd ended.
It was a unique double play that the Jags will take, but in odd play, and the Jags are back in their wheelhouse on offense as that ball is shot over to right field, and the catch was not made, I don't believe.
Good effort there, though.
Absolutely is.
Gonna keep the count alive for Billardello, a ball and 2 strikes. He'll be followed by Bakari Gale. And then Zach Goebel here at the bottom of the 3rd.
Yeah, Corbett was close, but he could not quite come down with that catch. It gives new life for the Jags here in this at-bat.
Count now 2-2 to Billardello.
And if Billardello gets on, look for him to attack the base paths with speed.
And high chopper to second. Easy play. Throw to first in time for out number 2. For out number 1, I should say. That's going to bring up Bakari Gale. Singled in the first and ultimately came around to score the only run of the game so far. It's the reason the Jaguars have the 1-0 lead at the moment.
Ever since that rocky first inning for Heil, he settled back in nicely. Been able to get outs when he needed to and send the Jags scrambling for insurance runs. But he shut the door on the second inning, and he's quickly got the first out here in the 3rd, so he's done a really good job outside of that rocky first.
Gale lines one foul, 0-1. The 0-1 pitch, grounded to short, backhanded the ball, throw across to first in time, 2 up, 2 down. You're absolutely right, Blake. After Hale gave up the first run, he was in a jam with runners at second and third and 1 out. Since then, he has retired 7 in a row. Retired Wagner and Hobbs to get out of the jam without giving up any more runs. Set the Jaguars down in order in the 2nd. And so far this inning, 2 up, 2 down. Shot foul by Goebel, 0-1.
And as you alluded to, it could have been much worse as the Jags had a red-hot cooker of pressure on the base pads, the second and third, with only 1 out in that inning. But Heil and North Georgia shut the door outside of that 1 run, and he has not looked back since. This is his 3rd inning, and only giving up that 1 run. He has 2 outs to his advantage now.
And the 0-2, swing and a miss. Down on strikes goes Goebel on 3 pitches, and he is on a roll as of right now. Still 1-0 Jaguars with the lead as we go to the 4th at the Lake. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Lake. We set to start the top of the 4th inning here with the Diaducks coming to bat and take you through the play-by-play. 4 innings, 4, 5, and 6. Here's Blake Collins.
Thank you, Robert. As North Georgia finds himself turning over the lineup card for their shortstop, who is their table setter, William Mapes, is up at the dish, facing Govardon, who has mixed up his pitches very well to this game thus far. Starts him off with a ball that could have easily been construed as an excuse me swing. Buries a fastball inside. So works the count back to a 1-ball-and-1-strike affair. Mapes swung underneath that pitch and skies it into center field. That's where Billardello is roaming around out there. Camps under it, and the first out is on the board. And that'll give way to the next man up, Stephen Tomlinson. As Tomlinson is looking to spark some type of offense here for North Georgia as he's working against a pitcher in Sam Govardon that is only allowed 1 hit on the night through 3 innings. If you look at it now, he's working in the 4th inning. He's already got 1 out to his credit. And his next pitch to Tomlinson is high and away. Now, Govardon is not opposed to working behind in the count, as we've seen, Robert, in the past that Sam has built up his ball count, but can quickly work back and try to muster up and out and work back to get strikeouts as well.
Well, this is his 3rd batter he's faced that he's battled back to a full count after falling behind 3-0 as he gets Tomlinson to swing and miss there. He fell behind Perez 3-0 in the 1st inning, and also fell behind Dempsey 3-0 before striking him out in the 3rd.
So we mentioned there, he's a great battler behind in the count as he quickly gets a bounce out to shortstop. That is where Maddox roams around, and he quickly puts kibosh on the 2nd out. The transfer was clean. The throw was on target to Hobbs. And now you've got Andres Perez, who is the catcher for the Nighthawks, and Govardhan is now working into the 3, 4, and 5 guys as that ball is launched, pulling foul. He liked what he saw, did Perez, but was not able to hold the weight back. He got a loud piece of that second strike, but ultimately pulled it foul. And that ball's laced into center field. Or laced into right center field. There are 2 outs in the inning, though, as we'll see if North Georgia can muster up a 2-out rally. It's a good start, though, with Perez holding back and fighting off an inside pitch, using his hands to muscle that into right center.
It's the third base runner of this game for the Nighthawks. The first 2 were erased by double plays, as up until this point, Govardhan, we talked earlier about how Hale has been outstanding for the Nighthawks, but so has Govardhan. He had faced the minimum up until this point.
Absolutely. He has been lights out, and still the Nighthawks, out of a smattering of hits, have not been able to find an answer to where they can pose a threat to Govardhan. And the only temporary threat that they had was thwarted by an interference play, as we mentioned before.
And it was a kind of an accidental interference when you think of it, as Dempsey probably didn't mean to get in the way, but the ball just happened to hit the bat when McElwaney tried to throw to second. It just happened to be in the way, not something that Dempsey had intended for, I'm sure.
Absolutely, and you can't really hold Dempsey responsible either, because that's a play that rarely happens, but it happens in a tight spot for them, and they haven't been able to find an answer since. As Govardhan right now, Robert, is pitching his style of game. And that ball's belted into center field. Lazy fly ball off of the bat for North Georgia that Billardello camps under and corrals. So we mosey on into the bottom half of the 4th inning. Can the Jags stretch across some insurance runs? There's only one way to find out, and you know what to do when we come back from this break. First man Heil will face in the bottom half of the 4th inning. It's arguably the most consistent hitter of the season for the Jags. Now, you know, Goebel, who was the last out in last inning, has been really consistent this week, but more overall over the season has been very consistent. He shoots a weak ground ball to shortstop. Good transfer, good clean play. Fires over to first, and the first out is in the books. The next man up for the Jags is a patient hitter who has very keen eyes at watching the strike zone, has a good idea of the strike zone, but Wagner chops one in his first pitch out to Heil. Heil doesn't offer an errant throw to first this time as he makes it very clean, concise, and real quickly, off of 2 or 3 pitches, he has 2 outs to his credit here. Let's see if Ty Hobbs can make him work a little bit up at the dish. He does just that with the first ball of the at-bat. Down low. That pitch settles in over the outside corner. Heil's delivery got away from him a little bit, and the ball sails on him. And Goebel is on first base. I'm not sure that's the way he initially wanted to go to first base, but he'll take it as the Jags have a minor threat going, and it's up to Mason Robertson now to see if he can extend the inning and put more pressure on Heil.
It's the Jaguars' first base runner since they had second and third and 1 out in the first inning, as Hale had retired.
So you see the split action
10 in a row.
On that splitter from Heil just drop down. Mason, though, with those keen eyes, lays that off. Saw the rotation very well on it. He goes after the pitch that time, same location, and fouls it off. You can see Mason wanting to turn on that pitch and rip it down right field. We'll see if he gets a pitch up in the zone where he can do that. If Heil has anything to say about it, it won't be. So the pitch is down, and second to first. That's how the inning closes down. Jags get 1 runner aboard, but cannot muster up the strength to stretch him over to second base. That bodes well for the offense of North Georgia. We'll see how they fare at the top of the inning. So the first contender for Go Herdon in the 5th inning is Bill Leroy, who stands ready to see if he can do damage. And he ganders at the first pitch high. Gordon works quickly, though. Settles back. Over the plate is a strike, but Leroy strikes quickly on that pitch. And you never like to see that on defense, but the ball squirts through the glove of Wagner there. And Leroy is standing at first base on Robert. You almost have to, at that point, score that an error.
You do, and it is officially an error, as even though it was a hard hit ball, it went right through Wagner's legs, hit right to him. And you're absolutely right.
And that's
each team with one error now.
And the bunt is popped up for North Georgia, trying to advance the runner. But as a former defensive-man, you're always taught to, on ground balls like that, start your glove down on the dirt and work up. So that way you have more of your body to try to block that down and then recover to see if you can get the out. If you start it up and then work down, what just happened will more than likely happen is that pitch is offered at quick snap throw back over to first base, and Leroy shoots back into the bag safely. Jags almost caught him sleeping and dancing out too far.
And certainly the Nighthawks at this point, you'd think they would have figured out that they can't afford to make base running mistakes like that and wander in between the bases after what's happened already in this game with the double play and the batter's interference. And certainly the Jaguars on defense have been able to use those good defensive plays to their advantage in this game so far.
Well, accompany that mistake, and you almost had a second there, you're right, and accompany that with how Gordon is pitching there, especially on that strikeout with a sinker down. Gordon's lights out today for the Jags, and North Georgia, even when they have runners on base, they haven't been able to piece together a solid inning to have more pressure on Gordon or find an answer to play to run. And it's now in the bat of Chase Sudduth to even see if this inning continues. Because the Jags in the infield are at double play depth, and if Gordon can get a ball down and Sudduth swings over the pitch, that could be an inning double play. Swung over the top of Maddox, Robertson, and a 6-4-3 double play, almost right on cue for the Jags that will isolate and end the top half of the fifth inning. Jags are cooking with Crisco on defense. They have a one-run lead. Let's see if they can continue to try to stretch this lead out further. Jags start the bottom half of the fifth with Caleb McElwaney looking to climb aboard. Heil still out there working. He's down in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Finds the zone there. Solid cut there by McElwaney, but a huge whiff as he swings right through that changeup. Allows that one to sail out of the zone. So now on a juice count, 3 balls and 2 strikes, the pressure goes right back onto Heil, and they'll have to do it again as McElwaney rips that one back foul. It punctures off of the roof, and hopefully some of the fans did not get affected by that. McElwaney's opposite approach does him wonders right there as he first attacks that ball, piercing through the zone with his hands, and the bat shortly follows, again with the same approach to him. And he's fighting now, Robert. This is about the 3rd straight pitch he's battled back and is staying alive.
Yeah. He has it. It was already 3-2 before that started. And they're starting to make Hale work a little bit here.
And Heil quickly loses McElwaney off of a good battle. What was a 9-pitch affair ends up with the Jags having their first runner aboard in the 5th. Now the bat will be handed off to Trent Maddox, looking to escort McElwaney up to second. Any way he can. Bunt, base hit, a walk. Any way you can shake the stick at, Maddox will do and try to put more pressure on Heil. Heil's done a really good job, though, Robert, of keeping the ball down and getting outs when he has to.
And he's had a very minimum amount of strikeouts, only 1 strikeout in this game, and that's why despite that, he's been able to be so successful. Last inning, in the 4th inning, all 3 outs were recorded on the ground, as well as 2 of the 3 outs in the 3rd, and 2 in the 1st as well.
With that rocky first inning behind him, as Maddox bunts over to Heil, another fielding opportunity. They call that PFP, pitcher's fielding practice. Works beautifully there in game time. In a game time scenario, garners the first out for North Georgia. But as we saw right there too, he, outside of that rocky first, he continues to pitch to contact, which has done wonders for Heil here on the mound. And now Billardello doesn't waste any time. Lifts that ball into right. Productive at bat, though, as McElwaney, with catcher speed, tags up at second and moseys on over to third. Again, Corbett makes that play closer than it was, even though the throw was offline.
Well, that's the beauty of hitting the ball to the right side, whether it's a ground out or a fly out, as there's a lot of space between where the ball ends up and third base. Plenty of room for McElwaney with smart base running, even though he's not the fastest runner on the team, to be able to get to third.
Yep. And with 2 outs on the board now, Gale swings and takes a massive rip at a high fastball. And that ball skied in the infield. Infield fly rule would apply, but there's already 2 outs. And the ball hits the glove of the third baseman, and the inning is out of order for the Jags. And we will press on to the top half of the 6th. The Jag, excuse me, hanging on to a 1-0 advantage. We'll be back in a flash. So the first man to test Gohardon in his 3rd attempt at the plate is Nick Cuerno. Gohardon, late movement on that pitch, and absolutely works to perfection there as it dies as Cuerno was swinging at it. Ball's elevated, and Cuerno a smidge under that pitch, skies it into left center field. Quickly, 2 pitches and 1 out. Cal Dempsey looks to break the schneid of 2 hits for North Georgia. They've been rather silent outside of that. Stares at a first pitch strike over the inside third of the plate. Gohardon ball dies before it gets to the plate, and 1 ball and 1 strike in this affair. And that ball's roped into center field. Gale shoots over and puts the out away.
Been a busy inning for Gale as he's made both outs on line drives to start this inning.
Let's also not get confused, as the Jags have, as we've been talking about with the lineup, all of their outfielders, Moore, Billardello, and Gale, have phenomenal speed. And if the ball hangs up at any length of time at all, you can bet they're going to do their best to try to gallivant over to it. And it's a great job from Gale on that second out to put it in the books. As Gohardon works an even count now to the top half of the order in William Mapes. Change of speeds there as it has again. Gohardon's late movement is becoming visceral this game as that's what caused the late swing from Mapes, and he's down a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That ball was skewed off the bat to second. Robertson, good transfer, good clean throw over to first base. And just like that, before you know it, we are heading into the bottom half of the 6th. And with that being said, we will see you on the flip side. Goebel stands in for the Jags, and first pitch, he barrels up. Only issue with that was the barrel sent the ball foul back our way. Quick tapper out to Heil, who's still out there. We're seeing Robert, a dandy of a pitcher's duel, as that first out is quickly in the books.
It has been, and both bullpens have been empty the entire game, and rightfully so, as obviously this is kind of what you'd expect on a Friday night conference game in college baseball. It's generally the game when it's game 1 of a 3-game conference series where both teams would send out their starter, their aces, and they have done so today, and nobody has disappointed. The difference is the Jaguars had a little offense going at the start of the game, but Heil has greatly settled down since then and has been outstanding. And the Jaguars, not only have they had a good performance by Goberton in this game, but just outstanding defense as well, as he's only recorded 1 strikeout in his 6 shutout innings and has just 1 over the minimum. 2 double plays the Jaguars have turned defensively this game on groundouts, plus a batter's interference they had, which ended the 3rd inning, helped as well.
Well, he's definitely been effective to Morris. He's down in a hole, 1 ball, 2 strikes, as he conks that one out to short. Good transfer by North Georgia in Mapes on the play there, and that settles it in to the Jags have 1 more out to go here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. It's Heil's job now with Jim Widener at the plate to secure that 3rd out. If Widener has anything to say about it, though, he'll battle to his heart's content, and he'll try to get on.
Even though both teams do have an error in this game, the defenses on both sides have been outstanding, backing up the pitchers. The hitters have been hitting the ball hard on both sides as well. We're seeing that throughout the game. A lot of hard hit balls, but they've all been hit right to defenders. The defenders have been in just the perfect position on several hops to make the plays that they've had to make.
And it's also too, it seems like both pitchers are well adverse pitching to contact. That's where a lot of your outs have come from. Heil has been everything that you would want in a pitch to contact pitcher, and Goberdon as well is solidifying his stakes as well, retaining this 1-0 lead on the Jaguars' defensive side. He's had a lot of contact outs as well, and right there is a swing through by Jim Widener on a ball in the dirt, and the Jags quickly and rapidly retire. 1, 2, 3 goes aside. We will be back with the top half of the seventh here shortly. As we as we edge closer to the first pitch in the seventh inning, here is my tag team partner, Robert Ambrose.
Thank you very much, Blake. Lead off the seventh inning for the Nighthawks, swinging and missing on the first pitch he sees. Stephen Tomlinson 0 for 2 in this game. Once again, Gilberton is just 1 over the minimum through 6 shutout innings, and another foul that's nothing in 2.
Well, these two teams will be facing each other all weekend long, too, as you're seeing a 6 o'clock start here, mosey on into the seventh inning, but also tomorrow. I want to mention, too, that it's a little bit later start than what you would normally see on a Jag Saturday game. First pitch will be amped up at 4 o'clock on Saturday. And also, we're back to the 1 o'clock Sunday starts as well to finish out the deciding game of this series on Sunday.
This is the first game of the 3-game series, and still a long way to go in this one, but I would have to say, I think it's safe to say that this series is off to a standing start.
Absolutely. It's like the first game was a couple of weekends ago with Young Harris and the pitcher's duel we saw then with Livingston and Meeks. This is turning out to be just as great of a dandy of a pitching duel as we saw then, with only 1 run on the board, and Govardhan's back out working and pitching his style of game.
The 2-1 swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And that's grounded to short. And Jim Wagner makes the throw in time for out number 2 here in the 7th. As once again, I mentioned last inning, both teams, defense is outstanding. A lot of hard hit balls. You can make the case that they're being hit right to the defenders, but the defenders have been in just outstanding positioning each time, just like Wagner was there to make the play. And that's grounded right back to Wagner once again, and he's going to be able to do it all over again, and is successful. And that's a 3-up, 3-down inning once again. As we go to the bottom of the 7th, time to stretch here at the Lake. 1-0 Jaguars. We'll be back. Welcome you back here to the lake. It's the bottom of the 7th inning. And the Jaguars coming to bat. It'll be Ty Hobbs leading off for the Jaguars. He swings and misses on the first pitch. He sees nothing in one. The Jaguars with 1 run off of 3 hits and no errors. The Nighthawks, no runs off of 2 hits and 1 error. The Jaguars, all 3 of their hits, as well as their 1 run, came in the bottom of the first inning.
So both pitchers doing extremely well outside of that one rocky inning, and to that point, and just another attribution to that, there's not a bullpen arm in sight anywhere for either team warming up.
Hobbs lines 1 foul, 1 and 2. And that's good. That's always good, because no matter how deep you are into the game, you always want to rest your bullpen as much as you possibly can. The Jaguars were able to do that brilliantly on Wednesday in the 5-3 victory, and now so far in this game we're seeing that again, it appears. As grounded to third, throw across the diamond in time. Another outstanding defensive play, as the plays on defense in this game just keep getting better. 1 gone here in the 7th.
Yeah, Hobbs just rolled over the top of it. Quick and easy transfer from third. He got the first out.
And now a called strike to Robertson, 0-1.
You could see right there that Robertson wanted to send that into the lights here at Lake Olmsted Stadium, just could not make contact with the ball.
And the 0-2 misses 1 and 2. Ball 2 strikes to Robertson. Here's the pitch, and the freshman grounds it to short. And throw to first. In time! Very speedy Robertson almost beat that out, and my goodness, he showed off his speed on a wind sprint there to first base, but the throw got there just in time for out number 2.
Yeah, it almost seemed like Mapes didn't realize how much speed Robertson had right there as he took his time, and Robertson almost beat it out.
And 2 outs and nobody on, a ball downstairs to Caleb McElwaney.
And if you're North Georgia, you would take that over an errant throw from the shortstop.
Called strike 1-1 to McElwaney. And the 1-1 pitch on the inside corner jammed him, and he chops it down the first base line. It stays fair, and Nighthawks step on the bag for the 3rd and final out. As the Jaguars are set down in order, we go to the 8th, 1-0. Augusta will be back. Welcome back to the lake. It's the top of the 8th inning. 1-0 Jaguars with the lead. That was the same score that it was after the first inning. And leading off, it will be Bill Leroy. Here's the pitch. Swung on, jammed him, and he chops it foul, and he appears to be shaken up on it. The play may have been fouled off of his foot. That was a very interesting swing to get a piece of that one, and it bounces off his foot, and he's trying to shake it off here. Nothing in the count. Gilbert back out there to begin his 8th inning of work. For the Jaguars, the bullpen remains empty. And why not?
Gordon's been very sturdy all game long. And even though he's worked into some full counts, as we've been talking about, he is prone to falling behind in the count, but he quickly catches back up, and he's retired a lot of the side with only 2 hits ushered in to this inning so far.
And now the 0-1, and that misses inside, up and in, 1 ball and 1 strike to Leroy. He's going to be followed by Jake Arnold and then Chase Suddeth. And swing and a miss, 1 and 2. As I mentioned several times in this broadcast, Gilbert has faced just 1 above the minimum in 7+ innings. The only inning in which he did not face the minimum was the 4th. And that was the result of a 2-out single by Andres Perez, the leading hitter on the Nighthawks, hitting .330 on the season with 11 home runs and 5 doubles. And it was that instance in the 4th as why Gilbert has not faced the minimum through the game only. And it was also Perez showing why he is the team leader in those categories and why he already, as only a sophomore, has pro scouts looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
He is not eligible for the MLB draft until 2019, being a sophomore, however.
Yeah, Gordon's out executing the offense of North Georgia so far.
Leroy lines one into left center for a base hit. And how huge is that hit to lead off the 8th inning for Leroy? He represents the tying run. It's going to bring up the go-ahead run, and Jake Arnold to the plate.
In seeing how this game has gone, and neither team is giving an inch outside of that 1 run for the Jags in the first, you may be looking at playing ABC baseball to execute the Nighthawks' first run here.
And bunted foul by Arnold, trying to do a little A, B, and C in the game of baseball. Now, all of a sudden, even though Gilbert has pitched outstanding, with it only being 1-0, and with very minimal run support by the Jaguars for Gilbert, you got to get the bullpen loose with the tying run on first, with nobody out and a 1-run game.
That's the only disadvantage to a pitcher's duel. Even if you get a threat later on in the game, say as we're in this, let's say 7th inning on, if you get even a modicum of a threat, there will be arms, if not warming up, beginning to move around out there in the bullpen because they want to preserve this lead as much as they can. And with it being only a 1-run lead, any pressure on the base pads, you'll start to see that.
You absolutely do, and I think this instance counts. If you know what I'm saying. One run game, 1-0 Jaguars with the lead, and the leadoff guy singles to start the inning. Nobody out.
And the bad thing, too, with it being their table setter, it's looking like one of their guys who has the most speed on the team.
And called strike 3, a huge strikeout for Gilbert. Only his 3rd of the night, but that one is a big one as there's 1 out here in the 8th now. And it's going to bring up Chase Suddeth.
And that was a crucial strikeout for Gordon, too. Not only to secure the first out, but now it also, if Gordon can induce a double play, it's a 2nd and 3rd out, and this chance will be squandered for North Georgia.
Double play is something the Jaguars have used very well defensively in this game. Ball and no strikes to Sunneth.
Well, and also too, a lot of the Jags pitchers are really good at keeping the ball down when they need to, and specialize in doing that, and that's worked out tremendously in their favor when they get into situations like this where a double play can be made.
One here would be crucial. Both of the Jaguars' double plays in this game outside of the batter interference have been 6-4 threes. Shows you how many hard hit balls have been hit the direction of Jim Wagner in this game.
And 6-4 threes are no slouch either. I mean, those can be messed up. So you know Maddox, Robertson, and Hobbs have practiced that a lot, and it's turned out to be a staple for him. As you mentioned, a lot of double plays created in this game.
Hit to deep center field. Bilardello makes the catch at the warning track, and tagging is Leroy. He had just taken a turn around second, had to turn around and go back around second and all the way back to first in order to tag up. But the ball was hit deep enough that he was able to slide back safely. So 2 gone here in the inning. A huge catch and allowed out number 2 just after the called strikeout to Arnold. The catch retires Sunneth, and that's going to bring up Nick Clarno.
Well, that's a factor of 2 things. One, the wind didn't help that at all. It's virtually dead out in center field.
Much unlike Wednesday's game.
Exactly. And plus, 2, Bilardello's speed recuperated very well in tracking that baseball to secure the second out. So 2 factors there did not work in North Georgia's favor, but the Jags come up with a crucial second out.
Ball and no strikes to Clarno. Runner on first, representing the tying run. 2 outs in the 8th. Here's the pitch. Misses for a ball, 2-0.
And if you're Coach Chris Howell, you want to see Go or Done exit this inning without any further pressure put on him.
Any further pressure, and you would think he's out of the game.
Absolutely.
In this being a pitcher's duel. The 2-0 misses, 3-0, and now he's really in trouble. He has battled back from several 3-0 counts in this game, but in the 8th inning and leading by 1, much different stakes.
There's a major difference between 270 feet from home plate and 180 feet from home plate.
The 3-0 pitch misses for ball 4, so a 4-pitch walk to Clarno, and Clarno, the tying run, is 270 feet from home plate, and Leroy, who was that distance, is now 80 feet, representing the tying run. So, yeah, it is a huge difference when you think about it.
Absolutely, and I mean, when you're in this type of situation too, and when you're holding on to this tight of a lead, it puts more pressure on the actual pitcher, even though you have 2 outs, to not only get the 3rd out, but also not to make a mistake here and allow that first run for North Georgia to come across.
And you would have to think that if he loses Dempsey, this might be it for him. It will complete, regardless of what happens as the bat, it will complete the 3rd trip through the lineup. That's normally when, if you're a pitcher, regardless of the point in the game, where for starters, that's usually as long as they go.
So if you're Gobert here, you don't even want to worry about the runners at first and second. Your full concentration is on Dempsey at the plate.
And he gets him to swing and miss. The first one, nothing in the one. Yeah, with 2 outs, absolutely. If you could get him to hit it to your good defense when there's no reason not to trust Jaguars defense with what we've seen so far in this game. A ball and a strike to Dempsey. Jaguars defense has made play after play. So has the Nighthawks defense, and that's contributed to the pitcher's duel. Obviously, both pitchers have been successful.
Absolutely.
Very well. But great defense is definitely part of it. Bullpen's starting to get a little busier as the mound visit not too long ago was definitely meant to buy time. In case Gilberton isn't able to retire Dempsey for the final out. The 1-1 pitch misses, 2-1.
And conversely here too, it'll more than likely be the same situation Heil will face when he's back on the mound because of North Georgia's offense not producing anything for him. So it's even tighter on his end when he comes back out than the Govardhan leash now because of them being down by 1.
Now the count even 2-2 as Dempsey swings and misses. I believe this is the first time in this game where deuces are wild with 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs, and 2 runners on base. It's about time. The 2-2 pitch fouled right back to near where we are, over the net. And Dempsey stays alive. Be a souvenir for a lucky fan. And that's one of the beautiful things about the game of baseball is you can get a souvenir as a game ball. You'll never get a game of football if you go to a football game as a souvenir, or a basketball, ever.
Absolutely. Especially at high school and at the college level.
The 3-2 pitch misses. The count is full. Well, at that level, it's a lot easier to catch a foul ball if given the opportunity. When it's not quite as crowded as a professional game.
Now in the NFL, you probably could if a player comes up after a touchdown and hands it off to a little kid or something like that. But outside of that, you're right. There's not much you can.
Swing and a miss. Dempsey down on strikes as he chased what may have been ball 4 on a full count pitch. And the Jaguars get out of the inning as the Nighthawks strand 2. Jaguars come to bat, leading 1-0. Looking for insurance. We go to the bottom of the 8th. After this, we'll be back. Welcome back to the bottom of the 8th inning here at the Lake. Trent Maddox, the number 9 hitter on the Jaguars, will lead things off. Jaguars lead at 1-0 and have led at 1-0 since it was the bottom of the first inning. There has been no scoring since, and Maddox pops up the first pitch. It's going to stay in the infield, and the catch is made. F6, 1 gone here in the 8th.
Hiles been combating these Jaguar hitters pretty good, with the exception of that first inning. Outside of that inning, he's had very tough luck with the offense being virtually non-existent, with only 3 hits to their credit for North Georgia.
And that's a ball to Bill Ardello, 1-0. Back to the top of the Jaguars order. The 1-0 pitch. High chopper. Right side. Throw to first. And that's going to pull Heil off the bag, who went over to cover as that was hit a little farther away from first base on the right side, but closer to first base than second base. Heil went over the cover and takes his foot off the bag in trying to stop the ball from going by him for an error. And as a result, looks like, still waiting for official ruling, but I think with Bill Ardello's speed, that might be an infield hit.
And just the PSA, that play was brought to you by Bill Ardello's speed. Is, man, oh man, did he
literally
get out of the box very rapidly, and he beat the toss over to first base. And yeah, and you're right, that caused the first baseman to pull the throw, or to catch the throw off the bag, and he couldn't get his foot back on first base in time.
Check on the runner at first. That, believe it or not, so it is officially ruled a base hit. It is the first base hit by the Jaguars since the first inning.
And folks, if you have speed on the diamond, much like in basketball and a receiver in football, in baseball, if you have speed on the base pads in any capacity, it will kill a defense, and it was just displayed right there.
The 2-1 pitch, shot foul, and it'll also kill a pitcher who might want to check on the runner quite a bit. We saw him throw over to first with Villardello already, and that could play huge as Jaguars need insurance runs.
Absolutely. And barring a double play, they have 2 outs to work with.
Another check on the runner. He gets back. And barring a double play, Zach Goebel will bat next.
You know what, Robert? I wouldn't mind seeing a play to shake things up a little bit. I would not mind seeing Howell elect to dice up the defense a little bit and do a hit and run. Because at this late stage in the ball game, you want to try to do something to create the offense that you saw in the first inning, which outside of that,
popped up, catch is made at third on another pop-up that stays in the infield. Second one of those this inning, 2 gone. Now with 2 outs, would you still try one? I agree. I think we're overdue to see one of those, and the Jaguars really have not had many at all opportunities for that sort of thing with the lack of base runners and no hits since the first inning until now. But with 2 outs, would you still do it?
I would just because it gets Villardello in motion, and with his speed, a double scores him. So I would at this point, although the Nighthawks have been doing a very good job outside of that 1 inning containing the Jags offense.
Their one error defensively for the Nighthawks this game was an overthrow to first base on a pickoff attempt. And that's important to note with Villardello, speedy runner on first with 2 outs. 1-1 count. It's a low risk when you have a lead and thinking of a hit and run, but even with 2 outs and you don't want to risk it, doesn't mean you wouldn't want to steal.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is that even if you do that, the Nighthawks are still in this game if Villardello scores. At that point, they would only be down by 2 runs. That's still very close, and close enough for them in 1 inning in their top of the 9th inning to strike back and tie this game up. So it wouldn't hurt them in terms of, say, maybe running up a score, in which it's clearly not right now. You're only down by 1. So the pressure applied by the Jags would be well warranted here to try to create the insurance run that they need going into the last 3 outs.
That's in the air to deep left field to the warning track, and the catch is made. Goebel hit it hard, but didn't get all of it. As we go to the 9th, still 1-0 in favor of the Jaguars. We'll be back. We are back here at the lake. It's the top of the ninth inning. The Jaguars lead by the same score as they led by in the first inning, 1-0. That was the inning they scored their one run and had 3 of their 4 hits. Their other hit didn't come until the 8th inning. Been a very entertaining pitchers duo, low-scoring game. A lot of batters swinging early in counts and putting the ball in play. That's contributed to the pace of this game drastically as well. Plus great defense.
Absolutely. And then not only that, but you have fresh legs out in left field with Patrick Watson roaming out there now. And fresh legs might not be as evident on a baseball field, but it's definitely noticeable. It would be more evident on a basketball court where there's a shorter length to run and you can actually visibly see it more often utilized. But believe me, fresh legs in the outfield at this late stage of the game will definitely help the Jaguars in this scenario. And not only that, but what we talked about at the top of the game with the closer in for the Jags now in Zach Goebel.
Zach Goebel, the designated hitter in this game, slash closer, slash pitcher of the week in the Peach Belt Conference, slash player of the week in the Peach Belt Conference, slash regional player of the week. 3 balls and no strikes to Mapes as he's struggling to throw the strike zone out in the bullpen.
The Jags have a lot of slashes in their lineups in terms of versatility. You have multiple guys who can do multiple things, and that always pays dividends when you want to mix and match.
And the designated hitter, Zach Goebel, called upon here to try to close out the game after Gilberthon pitched outstanding in the game. And that's going to call for a mound visit. Chris Howell coming out the bullpen, still busy, so the Jaguars want to take advantage of the maximum of 1 mound visit per inning while they can during a close game late like this. And they're going to do so here with the pitcher warming up. Have a conversation with Goebel, who throws 4 straight balls to start his outing. And starting the 9th inning, called on in relief of Gilberthon, who was just outstanding in 8 innings. Didn't allow a run, gave up only 3 hits.
So now Goebel's objective here is to entice the Nighthawks with low pitches to see if he can get that ground ball to usher in 2 outs. But if you're the Nighthawks, you saw the 4 straight pitches that he just threw. Most of them were low, so you want to try to see if you can work the ball up in the zone.
First pitch swinging to Tomlinson. He bloops it to right field, but Harrison Moore is right there to make the catch. And that was a good pitch by Goebel after losing Mapes on 4 pitches. He basically throws a breaking ball downstairs. That was probably discussed in the mound visit, where he is purposely able to get Tomlinson to golf it out to right field for an easy catch.
And he also hit it right to the outfield, which we mentioned beforehand is very speedy. So the tracking ability for the Jags definitely helped out there, along with the speed to secure that first out.
Ball and no strikes now to Perez. One out, runner on first. The runner on first is Mapes. He represents the tying run. Perez at the plate. 11 home runs, a .330 average going into the game. On the season, ahead of the count, 2-0. He's at the plate representing the go-ahead run. Now, statistic of 11 home runs in a situation like this could loom large.
Absolutely. And all the Jaguars are looking for is just one pitch to get out to garner a victory here.
One pitch and a double play, which the Jaguars have done well in this game, would end it. Although unlikely on 3-0. If you're a good hitter like Perez, do you take on 3-0? In this situation? Yes,
you do, because you're looking now at runners.
And he does, and he draws a walk. So in 3 batters faced by Goebel, 2 4-pitch walks. And that puts the go-ahead run on first base, and Goebel's really struggling to find the strike zone.
In any type of tight game like this, you're looking at runners on the base paths, because even if you play station to station 90 feet, and even if you tie this game up, you still have that constant pressure on the pitcher.
And that is going to be it for Goebel, who is unable to shut the door. Jaguars still have the lead, but Goebel has struggled, and Jaguars are not wasting any time with the signs of trouble. They will go to their bullpen. And we will take a break as well. You're watching and listening to the Augusta University Athletics Network on YouTube. We'll be back. Welcome back here to Lake Olmsted Stadium as Cody Pugh is the new pitcher for the Jaguars. He inherits runners on first and second. The runner on second is the go-ahead run, or correction, the runner on second is the tying run. The runner on first, the go-ahead run in the ninth inning with one out. There have not been any runs scored in this game by either team since the first inning. The bottom of the first one, the Jaguars took a 1-0 lead, and that is where we stand now. And first pitch to Connor Corbett is a called strike, 0-1. Both runners on base reached on 4-pitch walks by Zach Goebel, who entered the game in relief to start the inning in place of Goberton, who was outstanding, pitching 8 shutout innings for the Jaguars. That's in the air to right field. Harrison Moore giving chase. He goes back. He's not going to get there. It's off the wall. They're going to wave Mapes home. He scores, stopping at third Perez, and we are tied at 1. And the Jaguars once again unable to close it out in the ninth inning. It's been a struggle in a lot of games this year, as the Jaguars' defense had been outstanding in this game. Unable to make the final 3 outs in the ninth inning, as that run is charged to Goebel. As I mentioned, Goebel entered the game in relief to start the inning. He was the DH. So with that being said, now that we know there's going to be a bottom of the ninth inning, the Jaguars will have at least another at bat in this game. The DH is gone, so the pitchers will be batting from here on out.
So that was all calls by a fastball down the middle, elevated, and then a fastball up in the zone, elevated, that was served into right field over Moore's head. And not only that, but that also causes the infield to come in a situation where almost you have to now
You absolutely
cut
have
off the run at home plate.
You absolutely have to. It's the go-ahead run at third, and that's line foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Corbett. Also, Goebel responsible for the runner on third. So if that runner comes home, Goebel, who walked a pair of runners on 4 pitches each in his outing here in the ninth, he will be in line for the loss if that happens.
Right. And what you'll probably see now, if a ball is hit sharply to the infield like it is there.
Grounded off the glove of Robertson, and they're going to throw to third. Not in time. Everybody's safe, and the Nighthawks take the lead 2-1. And suddenly you realize just how many Nighthawk fans there are here. There's quite a few of them.
Absolutely.
As they've suddenly gotten loud for the first time in this game.
That was a routine play at second that is difficult when the infield is in. The reason why that play was not made was because the infield was drawn in, and that was courtesy of that ball that was shot into right field. But it makes a play like that is borderline routine 10 times more difficult out on the field because you have a quicker reaction time drawn in than you do playing normal depth. And right there, Mason did all he could to try to corral it. It just scooted out of his glove when he brought the glove up.
He was trying to do a lot of things with the play, and he had to because there was a lot of things going on, and it was a little too much for him. And it's now a ball and no strikes to Leroy. Runners at the corners now, 1 out, and when we were talking not too long ago about the tying and go-ahead run getting on base, now we're talking about the Nighthawks looking for insurance runs with 1 out in the ninth.
It's going to be a little bit of a simpler scenario, though, for the Jags on a ground ball, because they can get themselves out of the inning with a double play. But, yeah, you're right. If you are North Georgia, you want to see if you can, off the bat, elevate the ball into the outfield and test the arms of the Jags to acquire a much-needed insurance run. And I'm not just talking about for North Georgia. With the way this game is going and has gone, 2 runs are a necessity for any team at this point. With North Georgia having the lead, it would absolutely do them justice to acquire this 3rd run. So the Jags will have to, in their bottom half of the ninth, scoot across 2 runs, which North Georgia has done here in the ninth.
That's if they can get out of this inning without allowing any more runs. And that's not going to be easy, as there's a runner on third with less than 2 outs, and double play would be the quickest way out. And he grounds to short. Evans to second for 1. But they're unable to turn double play. There was no chance to get the speedy Leroy, as another run scores as a result. But for Evans, that was probably the right decision, as it would have been hard to get the out at home, and he had an easy out at second. So still the right decision.
Well, I mean, also, too, that play was busted up once Maddox decided to backtrack and play it off another hop. If he'd have come in and played that on a different hop and charged it, he might have made the play, but he got the sure out at second. But with that being said, with him taking that step back, allow for that run to come in from third.
Ball downstairs to Jake Arnold, the batter now 0 for 3 in this game. And this is an opportunity for Arnold to make up for what has been a rough game so far in a rough series. 0 for 3, a pair of strikeouts, and he also grounded into a double play. The 1-0 pitch on the outside corner, a called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Arnold. Leroy is on first after the fielder's choice. Jaguars trying to hold him on. He does not have a big lead off of first. He's the designated hitter for the Nighthawks. The 1-1, called strike 2, 1-2 on Arnold. Absolute non-existent wind at this point.
And the thing is, too, it virtually erases a great pitcher's duel because Govardhan now has a no decision on his plate. Now, although Heil is back in the dugout, if he steps out into the field of play and pitches a pitch in the ninth, he's in line for the win.
He's in line for the win regardless, as he finished the 8th inning before the Nighthawks rallied to take the lead. Count, a ball and 2 strikes, still on Arnold. But the question is, in a close game like this, we talked about this with Govardhan on the mound on how you handle things differently during a pitcher's duel, even when the pitcher's doing well. And same case for Heil. Do you bring him back out there in a close game to try to go to distance, or do you want to bring in your stopper in a close game?
I'd work it this way. All right. If the Jags get a runner on, then yes, you want to try to bring in a relief pitcher or their closer because of the speed differential and because of the different strategic points that you can have if you are a closer coming in with a 2-run cushion. If they get a runner on, then you want to bring in your closer. But the way it is now, I'd let Heil come back out and see if he can finish this off.
And the Nighthawks basically just worked the hit and run to perfection as Leroy was running with the pitch, even though he never had a big lead. And he ends up at second on a hit, base hit through the left side when Maddox went over to second to cover for the potential stolen base. It's hit and run at its finest, and we talked about how the Jaguars were due to try one of those, and we see the Nighthawks successfully try one. If the inning continues with 2 outs, it's going to bring up Chase Sudduth.
The bright spot here for the Jags is you're only working with 1 out. So even if there's chaos on the diamond, you take the shortest route to the bag you can. If it's third, if it picks up at third, go step on third. If it's hit the short in your third baseman and you field it, third or second. And you only need 1 out, so you want to direct the out toward the shortest distance to the bat that you possibly can, given how third, second, and first are forced plays to get out of this inning.
Ball and a strike to Sudduth. You just got to focus on the batter and focus on an out at first if you can get an easy out here with 2 outs. Jaguars in the bottom half of the inning will have the middle third of their lineup due up. That would be Moore, Wagner, and Hobbs. Not bad guys to have up in this situation.
No, not at all. Not at all.
The ball and 2 strikes to Sudduth. Game 2 of this 3-game series tomorrow here at the lake at 4 o'clock will be the start time. We'll have all the action for you right here on the Augusta University Athletics Network on YouTube. Same goes for Sunday's game, the 3rd and final game of the series. First pitch Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. As we wrap up the weekend in the homestand. The 1-2, chopped to third. That's going to stay fair and not in time as Evans unable to make the throw in time. But it looked like he would have had an easy out if he stepped on third to get the lead runner, but he steps over the bag and goes to first, and it's not in time. A huge mistake.
No, not really, because of the fact that he was charging it, and when he came up, he would have had to redirect to turn back to first, so the easier out would have been to first base like he tried. The thing where it kind of got conjumbled and miscued there was he released the ball a little bit out in front of his body, which sent it into the dirt, and Hobbs could not scoop it up. But in that situation, the primary out that you're looking for with him charging as hard as he was going to be over to first base.
Just an unfortunate break for the Jaguars there.
Right.
Yeah, if he had to turn around and go back to third to tag the base, maybe he would have gotten there, but it would have been difficult either way.
It would have been a bang-bang play regardless.
Now the bases are loaded with 2 outs as we play on here in the top of the ninth. First pitch to Clarno. Misses for a ball 1. And correction, it is pinch hitter and Joshua Profit batting in Clarno's spot. So we will have a new third baseman for the Nighthawks in the bottom of this inning.
Profit comes up huge in this spot.
2 balls and no strikes.
He comes to the dish wearing a .273 batting average, 22 at-bats, 3 runs, 6 hits. So he hasn't had a lot of at-bats for this type of situation. So it's interesting because you've got a relatively a guy not used to this type of situation in a spot like this to where he can create RBIs as you get one there off of a wild pitch and ball 4.
And a 4-pitch walk, the third 4-pitch walk the Jaguars have surrendered in this, what is turning into a disastrous 9th inning after a great first 8 innings. And that forces home a run, and it's 4-1 as the Jaguars have now given the Nighthawks free insurance.
We touched on this a little bit earlier too, but patience for North Georgia is working to perfection here. Is a lot of the runners you see on base are because of the walks, but patience oftentimes as well, as we've been talking about, offers trouble to a pitching staff, and they're utilizing it to perfection, escalating this lead to 3.
And the potential to blow it even more wide open. Ball, no strikes to Dempsey, and the pitch is in there for a called strike, 1-1. Dempsey is the 9th hitter to reach the plate this inning, as after his at-bat is concluded, he's ahead of the count here, 2 balls and a strike. The Nighthawks will have batted around in the 9th inning after only being 3 above the minimum in innings 1 through 8. What a difference an inning can make in a baseball game. 2-1 pitch fouled away, 2-2. Jaguars just looking for one more out to get out of this inning before the bottom of the 9th. And the 2-2 is fouled away. The 2-2 pitch with Deuces Wild in the air to right field. Moore is there sliding. And he does make the catch on a great sliding play to end the inning. So the inning is over, but not before the Nighthawks take the lead over the Jaguars 4-1, scoring 4 runs and batting around in the 9th inning. As we go to the bottom of the 9th, Jaguars coming to bat. We'll be back. We're back here. Jaguars batting at the bottom of the 9th. Harrison Moore, the Jaguars cleanup hitter, leads it off. He looks at a called strike 1 on the outside corner, 0-1. Will be followed by Jim Wagner and Ty Hobbs. It's the 4-5-6 hitters, the middle third of the Jaguars lineup, the heart of the lineup, due up to start the inning. Grounded their third on the high hop, throw across the diamond in time. We have seen so many of those in this game, and Moore is retired for out number 1.
Well, if you're the Jags here, you want to try to give North Georgia a dose of their own medicine here and work the count and be patient at the plate, because you're down by 3. You want base runners on base, and if that's via a hit, that's via a walk, or whichever way you can get it, will be absolutely needed here for the Jags.
Called strike to Wagner. Now the 0-1 pitch, and that misses for a ball 1-1 to Wagner. Wagner 0 for 3 in this game. He has been hit by, he has struck out and flown out and grounded out. 2 balls and a strike now to Wagner. The Jaguars need 2 base runners to have a chance in this one.
And it's looking like that Clairno is playing in, maybe trying to scout out a bunt from Wagner. Now he backs up.
3-1 to Wagner. It would be a little weird if you bunted down 3 with 1 out, nobody on in the 9th inning. Unless you're trying to desperately to catch him off guard and get a base runner. And a called strike, it's 3-2.
Either that or maybe anticipating a ball that's not hit very hard and is a bouncer over to third base where he can charge and do like a Chipper Jones play, you know, with the one-handed bare hand pickup and throw over to first. He could have possibly been trying to scout that out as well, but it looks like Wagner's making pretty good contact.
The 3-2, swing and a miss, and down on strikes. He goes, that time unable to make contact at all, as he struck out for the second time in as many bats in this game. And that's going to bring up Ty Hobbs for the Jaguars. And the pitch to Hobbs, swing and a miss, 0-1.
And as we mentioned, Heil's still out there.
Grounded to short. And off the glove, the shortstop, but the throw is in time. He's able to recover, and that's going to do it here at the lake. As the Jaguars fall 4-1, another tough, heartbreaking loss as they controlled the game throughout innings 1 through 8, but fell apart in the 9th inning, and unfortunately that was the difference in a 4-1 loss here in the series opener. But good news is 2 more games this weekend, one tomorrow and one Sunday, so a lot can still happen this series.
Absolutely, and I mean, the offense got off to a tremendous start. If you're the Jags, just Heil's pitching after the first inning mechanically was really good, and the Jags were unable to find an answer for it. But you like how they come out of the gate with the pressure right out of the gates. Let's see if they can do that tomorrow. And the bullpen, it's been better. It has definitely been better, but really good showings, especially with the Coker game and a couple of games last week. But, you know, I mean, hey, like you said, there's always Saturday and there's always Sunday.
The bullpen, it definitely has been better. Unfortunately, struggled today, and it spoiled a great outing by Goberton. But, I mean, it's not like they had their issues. It was really the offense of the Nighthawks that really got things going for them as well in the 9th inning. Finally, we're able to figure things out as the Jaguars fall. And we're going to wrap things up here. Once again, we will see you tomorrow for Game 2 of this 3-game series at Peach Belt Conference play. First pitch at 4 o'clock Eastern Time on the Augusta University Athletics Network on YouTube. Once again, the final score here from Lake Olmsted Stadium. The Nighthawks 4 and the Jaguars 1. For Robert Ambrose, I'm Robert Ambrose alongside Blake Collins. We'll be back. Good night, everybody.